Welcome to a special collaboration between Beyond the Radar and the Nerd Informer podcast. Get ready to embark on an extraordinary journey across America as we uncover 50 UFO stories from all over the 50 states. From the brush of Arizona to the forests of Maine, each episode plunges deep into the most compelling and mysterious unidentified flying encounters ever recorded. Join us as we explore eyewitness accounts, government files, and expert analysis that will leave you questioning what you thought you knew about the skies above. Only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Oh, welcome everyone. That straining, down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth voice lets you know that it is time for another episode, our final episode of this wonderful six-part series. Lovely time with these two gentlemen.
Great time.
Yeah, great time. We're going to end it. We're not quite done yet. We're going to end it with a blast, and fear not, I'm sure we're going to have multiple collaboration specials with each other. So this is certainly not a one-time deal. And if they think it's a one-time deal, I'm going to make them do it with me. So that's how that's going to go. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are or watching or listening from. You can view us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and you can listen to us on our Oracle Talk Radio Network app as well, which connects you to our radio station. For archives of past shows, search the Oracle Talk Radio Network on your favorite podcast platform and become a member on Spreaker and Patreon and get access to unheard episodes and bonus content. You both are in on that, so am I. It's wonderful episodes. People love hearing us, and we're going to make sure you have all the content you need, ladies and gentlemen, America, as you will. But we have a great show for you tonight. We have another 6 and then a special look at Pennsylvania's Roswell, which is Kecksburg. So, gentlemen, how are we doing on a Wednesday evening? Mischief night.
Doing
Only
great.
fitting we're on that
Fantastic.
Right before Halloween. It's awesome. Don't have any plans for tomorrow, really. Don't think I do anyways with the family, but hopefully we can hop on tomorrow.
What's odd is Halloween is usually a spur-of-the-moment type thing. You can go into it, you know what I mean, that week without anything, and then a party pops up or something happens. I've noticed that about Halloween, which is great. I mean, honestly, I would have a great time watching horror movies all night and handing out candy. I'd have fun doing that as well. Okay, well, before we kick this off, I had a question, and I'm sure you've been asked this before, but let's say there's many versions of candies in a dish, all different kinds. You have whatever your pick is in a bowl. What are you grabbing first?
Razor blade. I'm just joking.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm always drawn towards Snickers. I don't know why.
Me
Snickers
too.
Every time.
You both Snickers?
Yeah, I'm a Snickers guy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and Snickers is a fantastic one.
Or Kit Kat. A Kit Kat's a real close second.
I was going Kit Kat. I love me a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Reese's are good. Yeah.
That's so vanilla now. Everybody says that. I didn't want to pick that one. I can mess around. I'm gonna do a Mount Rushmore here. You got your Snickers up there, and correct me if I'm wrong if you want to add anything else. You have your Snickers up there.
Yep. You
have your Kit Kat up there. You have your Reese's up there, and I'm gonna put Twix as that fourth.
I put Butterfinger.
I was just gonna say Butterfinger for sure.
Okay, so
I do.
We have 3 of 4.
It's funny because when I was younger, Twix was like the only candy bar that I would eat. It was my favorite candy bar, and just over the years, I don't know, I just kind of got away from it. And
weirdest part, I hate Twix, and I think I've had a Kit Kat once in my life, ever.
Well, you do weird shit.
You always eat. I don't know why.
How do you hate it? There's nothing to hate.
I just don't like it. I guess the consistency of the Twix and the Kit Kat are almost the same. They have like that breading in there. I just don't like it.
Oh, the wafer and the cookie. One's a wafer, one's a cookie. They're not the same. Yeah. See, you're offending all of the Mars people now.
I'm sorry. I've never actually though. I think the last Kit Kat I had, and I had Ian try it, was the churro wafer Kit Kat, and I tried that. It was okay.
But, I wasn't a big fan of that, but it was all right.
I like it better than the original.
See, I go state by state picking things off. You took a whole half the world down by.
I had to. I don't like Kit Kat. I don't know.
I
why.
have targeted strikes. You just fucking nuked everybody.
He did. No survivors. Do not pass
Telling you,
go.
bro.
You were with the Infinity Stones and you snapped. That's what you did.
Well,
This is
I
why
gotta
we
say,
can't invite you to things. This is
probably
why.
my favorite one that I got is the Tootsie Roll, but the vanilla one. I don't know about you guys. The blue and white wrapper. The blue and white
I
wrapper.
do like a Tootsie
Yeah,
Roll
yeah.
once in a while.
Not the original like chocolate one, but the white one.
The only time I ever eat Tootsie Rolls is Halloween, though. For whatever reason,
Yeah,
that's the only
me
reason
too.
it's come
Yeah.
across them.
But I
Yeah,
can't
I
stand.
don't think many people anymore go to the grocery
How about
store.
candy
but
corn?
now
I
and
was
they're
just
like,
gonna say,
"You know what?"
it was coming out of my mouth. I said, I can't stand candy corn. I can't eat
Oh,
it.
they're the worst.
Oh, that's we can find common ground there. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not on that whatsoever.
just like
I'll tell you,
that-
when I was little, though, I
that-
ate the shit out of them. I don't know why, but
Yeah, and you'd eat them in the sections of the color.
Well, yeah.
Everyone does
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
those were
But
how you had to do
Those
it.
and Peeps, I can't do either.
I
of
can't eat
those.
Peeps now.
At
Nah,
all.
yeah, I'm out on Peeps too.
Those are the two that just should have never been made. But
We did a
How we feel about
podcast
Crunch
years
Bars?
ago. About what?
I said, how we feel about Crunch Bars?
Oh, I'm good with
Oh,
Crunch
I like
Bars.
Crunch Bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
What
did,
were we talking
we did a podcast a couple years ago. We ordered a box of candy from, was it Japan?
Japan. Yeah.
Oh.
No,
I think it was Japan, and it was
We have
all
to-
Japanese candy. And
Oh, yeah.
we just did like taste tests of like 50 different Japanese candies.
dude.
Oh, some of them are.
I want to
terrible,
do
bro.
another one of like I know Mexico has really good candy and like
Mexican.
random
Yeah, I've heard
flavors.
that.
I want to do that, but like what you're saying, we had this one that was like salmon candy.
Yeah.
Dude, the smell of the wrapper made me vomit. Like it was
It
so
looked,
bad.
it looked like a fly trap, like the
Yeah,
sticky trap that you would hang and you see hanging. It's like a fly trap. It looked exactly like that, and it had little chunks on it. And I couldn't even eat it. It was so. I think I threw it up. I don't know. It was
Meanwhile,
so
in
terrible.
Japanese, it says "Do not eat this." This is, you know what I mean. We're
It
just like
probably was.
enjoying.
It probably was one of those. It was terrible.
It was
But
horrible.
some of the stuff was, and they had like little bags of chips. You know what
Yeah.
Funyuns are? They
Yeah.
had like a version of Funyuns, but they were
crab.
they were so salty. It was
Yeah.
the saltiest thing I've ever eaten in my life. I'm like, oh, it was terrible.
Oh my god!
They had
But it
I
was
can,
so-
I can imagine the bag of Funyuns wouldn't be perfectly round; it'd probably be oval.
Yeah, yeah. It was terrible.
Would
It was
say
terrible.
that. Just joking.
Yeah,
But
it'd
it's
be longer and
yeah, yep, just long. Just, but I'm telling you right now, I would love to do another taste testing from a random country and see. Like, I want to actually the next one I want to do is Sweden. They have the best
Yeah.
chocolate for sure.
You know, at the PO box here at in Westchester for our station, if somebody please send candy, I'll make sure it gets to them, and for all of our listeners. No, actually,
Not the fly strip one. I'm going to throw it out
not-
if you said.
not that. But shout out to whoever was on around. It's like 11 o'clock last night from Botswana. I saw you tuned in, so thank you for that.
Man,
I don't know if they have candy. Probably not, but you know.
I want candy. God damn it.
We got some.
Yeah, there you
in our
go.
house.
We're gonna This is gonna be 50 states, 50 candy store.
Yeah, exactly. I'll offend
Well, you'd
most
also have
of
to
you.
do a deep dive on Pennsylvania because of Hershey, and
Right? Yeah, there you go.
Is
It's
that-
only fitting.
Yeah,
I have no. And I was gonna try to be smart, but I have no idea where the Mars factory is for their candy.
I think all the candies are now made in one factory somewhere, and they just
Yeah,
wrap them
they
differently
label
and
it.
send them out. I think Mars owns everything now. I think.
Yeah.
seems like it.
Well, speaking of that, you know, when there were the soda wars, right, are over, guys. Coke won that handily, right?
for sure.
We all know that.
I believe so. Yep.
Did you know that the
Nope.
second most popular soda isn't Pepsi? This past
Dr.
year, it got replaced by Dr. Pepper.
I would
Yes.
100% agree on that.
There's
like
a whole there's Facebook pages dedicated to Dr. Pepper. I follow a couple people, and like for whatever reason, they just have Dr. Pepper ads. It's just a Facebook page for Dr. Pepper drinkers and whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious when I saw it. I'm like, what is this Dr. Pepper thing? But it's all like Dr. Pepper memes and like just all kinds of things. Everything Dr. Pepper.
See,
Yeah.
I'm one that likes Pepsi more than Coke. I don't like
I
Coke.
hate Pepsi. I can't.
I
can
guess it's
drink
just-
both, but I definitely know there's a difference.
That's a
But I'm
big
Coke
difference.
guy.
It seemed like I don't know where I was at, like near Chicago. Everyone drank Pepsi. Everyone. So I can tell you, like,
Has it been a regional thing before?
I don't
know.
think so. Not that I would ever. I don't know.
Pepsi was the go-to drink for like most people up north where I was from. Like,
No way.
I just I don't know.
I guess it would be where you ate, because when I grew up, certain restaurants only had Coke, certain restaurants only had Pepsi.
Oh, I ask all the time because when you say Coke, they'll bring you a Pepsi if they don't have Coke, thinking that you're not going to know.
They will. Yeah, that's true.
I start out every time. You have Coke or Pepsi? Like, I want to know what you're bringing me because.
Yeah, if they say Pepsi, you get a nice tea or water.
Or Mountain Dew. I'll do a Mountain Dew if they do Pepsi.
Oh yeah, Mountain Dew. Yeah. See, I like Mountain Dew more than Pepsi. When I think of Pepsi brand, I think of Mountain Dew more.
Absolutely.
I would drink Mountain Dew over Pepsi. Yeah, for sure. But Pepsi over Coke.
Pepsi leaves a weird aftertaste for some reason, and I don't know why. I just can't get on board with it.
I love Pepsi.
I don't drink it. I don't drink soda or brand Pepsis because some of them are rank.
Yeah.
I've had a store brand, soda once or twice in my life, and I'm like, this is a no. It's gonna be a no for me, dog.
There's a little candy store in North Carolina. It's in Banner Elk that my grandmother used to take us to every summer when we'd go up there and visit. And it had like 100 different sodas from just off-brand little, old school off-brand little tiny soda companies. And like every week, we'd buy a little bag of candy and we'd all get to pick out a soda or whatever. And the sodas that came, they were so gross. Like you couldn't even begin to drink them, man. I'm like, what? Like,
it's like Cracker Barrel now.
Yeah, it's kind of like Cracker Barrel.
I saw like a Bazooka Joe gum one. I'm like, I'd never have that in my life, but it's pretty cool. They have so many different kinds of Cracker Barrel.
You never had Bazooka Joe gum?
No, I like the gum. I just wouldn't like the flavor of soda.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Bazooka Joe, when I was growing up, you could blow a bubble big enough that you would take off.
Yeah.
I liked reading the comics out of them when they had it.
Yeah,
a comic in each one of them.
True.
Yep.
Oh man,
good candy growing up.
Yeah. So we're already behind the 8 ball, as is tradition. Shall we start our little tour?
Oh yeah.
All right, Ian, where are we going?
We are going to Missouri.
There we go.
Show me state. This is a quick one, but it has some interesting things in it that I wanted to bring up. So, 1973 Missouri UFO sighting. An odd thrashing sound brought James Richard, 41, and his 16-year-old daughter, Vina, to the north window of their Columbia, Missouri mobile home at 12:30 a.m. on June 28, 1973. Some 50 feet away and 5 feet apart, 2 brilliantly silver-white beams of nocturnal light shone. When these lights suddenly faded away, an oval-shaped object about 15 feet in diameter became visible near the ground. It was so bright that Richard had to look away. The entire area was lit up as bright as day, he reported. The trees in the UFO vicinity swayed as if caught in a powerful wind. One almost touched the ground. A limb snapped off. All the while, Richard's dogs laid quietly inside the house. Their behavior seemed oddly out of character. Unnerved, Richard went for a gun, which he kept close as the UFO continued to hover by the trees. Richard then called the trailer park switchboard and asked that the police be notified. As he spoke, the lights in his house dimmed twice. The UFO headed off towards the north in a color, its color dimming slightly and revealing a silvery surface with blue and orange bands of light. At one point, it moved towards Richard's residence, then retreated, and after a few minutes was gone altogether. Investigators subsequently found broken tree limbs, crushed foliage, and on some tree, burned leaves as high as 35 feet above the ground.
Wow.
In the days ahead, more leaves wilted and died. The UFO left imprints 2 feet deep in the hard ground.
That's pretty deep.
The one thing that I was thinking about, the beams of light, and then the UFO appeared. It's almost like it like transported there. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like it was almost beamed down kind of, because it just appeared out of nowhere after the lights shot down.
That's very true. Some of the proof that they have there is some of our most substantial, right? We've had a lot of stories that are just seen, but you have the physical burnt evidence.
Yeah.
and not just on the ground.
And
If something is
30
30
feet up.
feet high
Yeah.
and it's burnt, if it was something else, you would know. That's close enough. You're going to see what actually did it.
For sure. Yeah.
So, mm.
That was one of the more. The beams of light is what caught my attention because it says it just appeared after that. So,
and you said it was so bright you had to look away.
Yeah. And 15 feet in diameter. I mean, it's good size if you're 50 feet away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can accurately measure from that distance. You know, how many times do we see where they're guessing, 1,000 feet in the air, 10,000 feet in the air? That's infinitely time. I mean, look at a bird on the top of a telephone pole.
Yeah,
exactly.
How much do you trust yourself to get that one right? Let alone.
I like how he grabbed his gun. See, that's the problem. This is the problem.
I was thinking the same thing.
You see an alien, and the first thing you do is you grab your gun. That's what's going to start some interplanetary war one day because some redneck shoots some alien by accident or on purpose.
Exactly.
And it's going to be a problem. You know what I mean?
This is where it goes to where they visit like schools because they know children aren't a threat. They're not.
Yeah.
The first reaction, grabbing my buckshot. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I probably wouldn't do the same thing just in case, but my first reaction wouldn't be to shoot it. You know.
Well, my first reaction now is just grab my camera. Like, it's the number one thing like people might not think about. It's like, or it's always that. I mean, I would grab a camera. That's the first thing I would do. Wide angle. Make sure I get it all.
The problem, well, I mean, you'd want to have it have documented, but the problem is like we've talked about it a lot of times with photographic evidence these days. It's hard to believe any of it.
And the problem is that you don't know what. Like, since you're seeing it for the first time, you don't know if that's generated or if that's like authentic. It's because it looks fake. You know what I mean? A lot of it looks fake, but could be real. A lot of people mistake it.
Mm-hmm.
I got in a conversation the other day about UFOs. When do you? This is a little bit off subject of this particular story, but when do you think the golden age of UFOs were?
Ooh,
I have a definite answer, but. I got an argument the other day. It was a stupid argument, obviously, but I think I have a definite answer.
So can I give a range of years, or is it just
a range of years?
I would have to go 75 to 85.
Really interesting. Okay.
I mean, you talk about pop culture, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, all outer space themed. And UFO themed multi-million-dollar blockbusters back in the age of people really, money wasn't money the way it is, now. People turned out and if you adjust all of those box office smashes with, adjust them for inflation, you're talking about like Avatar level,
no, you're right.
Oh, that's exactly it.
Sure. But I don't know if that answers the question in one aspect. But for me, in terms of pop culture, general audiences, that outer space and UFO thing, I think it needs a little bit of a boost from Hollywood. So that would be my 10-year gap right there.
I think if you look, my answer is, I think if you look at just the UFOs themselves, I would say like 50s and 60s, because all the stories most of the stories that we've talked about have all been from that time frame. Yeah, there seems to be much better recounting of stories and stuff from back then, and maybe that's because everybody wasn't so distracted by phones and TVs like we've talked about before. But I don't know. I think that was like the goal, and it kind of started everything. Like that was time. Roswell was what 47, and kind of after Roswell, everything kind of picked up to a point to where like the 50s and 60s, there's just so many great UFO stories that happened in that time frame.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just here. UK got the 60s were a lot in the UK actually. Rendlesham and all of that. Then Kecksburg was 65, which we'll talk about later today. In that aspect of UFOs as the actual craft and not in a, I guess my definition I took out of context a different way. I took it a different way. But
no, I actually like your idea because I never took into account, okay, well, you look at Hollywood and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean that there's definitely an argument to be made there.
Yeah, but that would be, I think that would be a separate thing than from what you were talking about, because I agree with you. If you talk about flying saucers and the invasion and all of that kind of stuff, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think 40, if you want to count, you probably have to count 20 years, 47 to 67.
Yeah.
If we look at the country at that point, you had Roswell, you had Rendlesham, you had Kecksburg, you had the term flying saucers being coined in Washington State.
Yeah. Sure.
You had all of that. Not to mention, you're 2 years away from hitting the moon, but the Russians sent up Sputnik during that time.
Right.
I think it's a different kind of UFO, but it's still a golden age.
Yeah.
But I would say, 70 to 75, I guess it lulled. It's almost like, okay, cool, we went to the moon. Now what?
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
then you have the films bringing it up again to 85. Then again, I guess a little bit of a lull until you had like the Phoenix Lights, then Independence Day, and then it kind of kickstarted it off again in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know when that would end, but then I think now it got kicked off again as of last year with the whistleblower testimony and the congressional hearing. Not to mention, I mean, not just me, because my algorithm's all UFO and paranormal, but just regular people opening and flipping in their app. You know what I mean? You have somebody that caught something on camera. So maybe it's building up a little bit towards that too.
But that's how I got into the conversation, was they were on Facebook or whatever, and like, I don't know, I got this UFO stuff or whatever. And we just kind of started talking about it. But yeah, that was their answer was more recent day. Like, kind of now is the time of UFO. I think because of like the government hearings and stuff like that kind of come to the forefront, which I get a little bit, but it's kind of more mainstream than before.
I can see it being more mainstream. Yeah,
but I think when you get to like just the good OG UFO stories, you got to go back. You got to go back to the 60s and
where it started.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like history, right? You have to respect the past to understand now, like how we got here to that. But you know what, Ian, that's a good point, because you can make an argument for today with all of that. Every major news outlet has a UFO sightings webpage.
It's definitely more mainstream for sure.
It's definitely more mainstream. But I like how we all named 3 different eras, and all of them had an argument.
Yeah, well, you're right.
So,
and I didn't even take into account, like, when you're talking, Hollywood and stuff. Yeah, Hollywood's really started coming on strong in the late 70s and 80s. So yeah.
So I guess it's fascinating stuff, and we could have we could make a whole episode on that.
Yeah, you're right. You could
discussing all what does the UFO movement over the last 90 years. What has it shown us? Where has it grown? Where could it have grown more? I don't know, maybe a future episode or something. Like, it'd be interesting to talk about those different avenues.
For sure.
But yeah,
right, well, now that I sidetracked us.
No. But that's
not much at all.
That's what these things do. They bring up great discussion, because what happened in Missouri doesn't happen in Kentucky, doesn't happen in Oregon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, especially when you're talking about old school ones, 50s and 60s. That information didn't get around as easily as it does today. You can't just open Facebook and see something in Peru happening. You know what I mean? Like, you had to wait until the local news got it, or hit the newspaper, or whatever the case may be.
Imagine those people back then hearing that, like, this happened 3 states away. How are they reacting? Because it's not on the news. They saw it's in the newspaper,
probably and I wonder what the time lapse would be. Like, did this happen 3 weeks ago by the time I hear it? Or
exactly.
That's a good point. Honestly, today you can probably find easier a story from 1971 than you did in 1971.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
God, nobody even heard of what a search engine is. What it could be, what it could do. Your search engine was what, the microfilm at your
Yeah. The
library,
old school,
right?
the old school microfiche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love them.
Well, you guys are both what, the mid-30s? Yeah, you guys are way younger than me, so I use those.
Yeah,
Towards the end.
They're still in
Towards the
Oxford.
end.
We still have a triangle to call people for dinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Missouri coming in strong.
We had
We're
one
gonna
of those
take
growing
it.
up.
Yeah, we're gonna take it to the Northeast here. I really hope that was New Hampshire.
Looked like it.
where
It
we're
looked
going.
like it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Exeter incident. It's a series of sightings in the mid 60s in Kensington, New Hampshire, which geographically would be on. They have a very small bit that actually touches the Atlantic. It's right there. So on September 3rd, 1965, approximately 2 a.m., 18-year-old, an 18-year-old at 2 a.m., guys, Norman Muscarello was hitchhiking to his home in Exeter along New Hampshire Route 150. Muscarello graduated from high school the previous June and was 3 weeks away from leaving for the service in the United States Navy. He had been visiting his girlfriend at her parents' home in nearby Amesbury, Massachusetts, about 10 miles to the southwest of Exeter. Since he had recently sold his car, Muscarello would hitchhike to and from Amesbury. However, that hour of the morning, there was little traffic on the highway. Muscarello had walked a good part of the distance. After reaching Kensington, a few miles outside of Exeter, Muscarello noticed 5 flashing bright lights in the distance, which he initially believed to be lights of a police car or a fire engine. As he drew nearer, he was startled to see the bright lights were hovering in the air just above the trees and illuminated a nearby field and 2 houses brilliantly in red. One house belonged to the Dining family, who were not home at the time. The other family, named Russell, was named Russell. Muscarello estimated the object to be 80 to 90 feet in diameter. He became terrified as the object made absolutely no sound and began to move steadily towards him. Panicking, he dived into a ditch beside the road. The lights had changed direction and hovered over the Dining farmhouse. Muscarello ran into the Russell's house and pounded on the door and yelled for help. But no one answered, and the Russells later stated they heard Muscarello at the door but were too frightened to come open it. The object moved away and disappeared over the trees of the nearby woods. Seeing the headlights of an approaching car, Muscarello ran to the road and forced it to stop. The couple in the car drove the frightened youth to the Exeter police station. At the police station, Muscarello, pale and visibly shaken, told his story to Reginald Toland, who worked at the desk. Toland knew Muscarello and was impressed by his obvious fear and genuinely agitated state. Toland radioed police officer Eugene Bertrand, who earlier in the evening had passed a frightened woman sitting in her car on New Hampshire 108. When Burton stopped to ask if she had a problem, the woman said a huge flying object with flashing red lights followed her car from Exeter to Epping, which is a 12-mile drive away, and hovered over the car before flying away. Bertrand considered her a kook, but did stay with her for several minutes until she had calmed down and was ready to resume her drive. After arriving at the police station, Muscarello's similar story, Bertrand decided to drive to the Dining farm with Muscarello to investigate the field where he had seen the lights. As Bertrand drove Muscarello back to the area of the sighting, they first saw nothing unusual. However, when they left the car and walked into the field towards the woods where Muscarello had seen the lights, some horses in a nearby corral became frightened and began neighing loudly, kicking the fence on the sides of the barn. Dogs in the area began barking and howling. Bertrand and Muscarello then saw an object slowly rise from the trees beyond the corral. Bertrand, the officer, described the UFO as this huge dark object as big as that barn over there with red flashing lights on it. The object moved silently towards them, swaying back and forth. Instinctively remembering his police training, Bertrand dropped to one knee, drew his revolver, and pointed it at the object. He then decided shooting would not be wise, so he reholstered his revolver. There you go, Ian. Grabbed Muscarello and both ran back to the patrol car. Bertrand radioed another Exeter police officer, David Hunt, for assistance, and when the two waited in the car for Hunt to arrive, they continued to observe the object. According to UFO historian Jerome Clark, Bertrand and Muscarello observed the object as it hovered 100 feet away, and at 100 feet altitude, it rocked back and forth. The pulsating red lights flashed in rapid sequence, first from right to left, then left to right, each cycle consuming no more than 2 seconds. The local animals continued to act agitated. The object was still there when Hunt arrived a few minutes later, and he watched it. Finally, the object rose over the trees and disappeared. Hunt soon heard the engines of a B-47 bomber as it flew overhead.
Wow.
He later told journalist John G. Fuller, "You could tell the difference between the UFO and the bomber. There was no comparison." The three men drove back to the Exeter police station, immediately filed several reports on what they had seen. Bertrand drove Muscarello home and told his mother about it. So I would say sitting on that one there for a little bit, because you have, in terms of sightings, you have the police involved.
Yeah.
You have somebody who they believed his shaken state. You had other families involved. But the thing that got me was when he brought the police back. How many times you hear in the story, "Oh, nothing was to be found"?
Yeah.
No, this thing rose up again.
Oh yeah.
Both police
almost shot it.
Almost shot it, and both police officers saw it.
So it was there for a while, hanging out.
It was there for a while, hanging out.
That's crazy. The thing that would freak me out the most, I think, would be if you're around animals at night, when they get scared, something's happening. Something's wrong. I grew up on a farm like of 20 acres with a lot of horses, chickens, everything. And when they get spooked, you're like, fuck. You're just thinking to yourself, what the fuck's out there? It could be a fucking wolf. It could be a coyote. It could be anything. A pack of them. Because you'd always wake up. I mean, we'd always wake up and you just hear a pack of coyotes, 10, 15 of them, maybe 20, just going crazy. So, yeah, they get spooked. I'd get spooked. Especially they know something's there.
Yeah. I mean, they have stronger senses in terms of detection of predators that we probably lost over time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But, they sense something. They sense something they didn't like. And then almost like a movie, you hear it going off, and then you see the object flying up, all filing police reports, all,
I wish you would have shot at it.
Yeah.
It just vaporizes them as soon as you shoot at it.
We probably wouldn't have got the story at that point.
No. We wouldn't be here back in 1965. We would have been done.
Yep.
But Nicole checks in, says, "My dad used to live in Exeter. We did see some UFOs there when I was younger, and a nice size cigar-shaped UFO craft."
A lot of people see the cigar size shape.
The cigar size.
That seems to be a newer
shape.
That seems to be a newer thing. Yeah.
I only ever heard about that with us in these conversations. Like, as much as I didn't really hear about cigar like shaped UFOs until really we all started this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And the B-47, for people who might not be too familiar with it, it's a very long-winged. It's not like a bomber or a stealth bomber. It is a bomber, but it's actually very long-winged and able to go for, a long period of time.
Yeah.
Not that, it's fine in a straight line, but it's not going to do the movements and the maneuvers that they were reporting there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and happy Halloween Eve to you, Nicole.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween Eve. We're just a couple of knuckleheads here talking about UFO stories.
Oh, yeah. Can't beat it.
Yeah. So, guys, that was the Northeast. That was Connecticut. Small state. I'm sorry, that was New Hampshire. Small state, big story. Congrats, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I was being nice there. They're I haven't crossed them off yet.
I like him. I'll give him a pass.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to Kentucky.
Oh, God. We're going to lose Kentucky for sure.
Oh, yeah. We're done.
We're definitely losing Kentucky.
Yeah.
I found quite a few. I feel
like this is a setup.
No, it's not. We'll keep it nice. But Kentucky has so many stories to go through. So
never mind.
See, that's crazy. I wouldn't.
I'm telling you, there is. I have a list right here. 20 stories right here.
What else do they have to do? But
so these are stories from the news, and I'm just gonna pick like two of them because they're not long. but I mean, I have to read them. And they also have YouTube videos and pictures on every one of them too. So this one's from 47. Yeah. So, well, I'll have to like show you these later, Tom. I'll send you this. No, this one's from 1948. I'm sorry. It's Captain Thomas F. Mantell incident, January 7th, 1948, Fort Knox, Kentucky. Considered one of the most classic early UFO incidences that shaped the public perception of the phenomenon. Captain Thomas Mantell, a young pilot, was sent from Godman Army Airfield to investigate a massive circular object hovering at an extreme altitude near Madisonville, Kentucky. Eyewitness descriptions of the object estimate it was around 300 feet in diameter, possibly metallic, and trailing a gaseous green mist. And one observer claimed that it briefly descended before shooting upwards to its original height at a speed greater than 500 miles per hour. Mantell pursued the UFO in an F-51D Mustang to an altitude more than 25,000 feet before presumably losing consciousness due to lack of oxygen. His plane crashed near Franklin, Kentucky, and the object disappeared soon after, says Richard T. Miller, who was monitoring Mantell's radio talk for Scott Air Force Base in Illinois, claimed he heard Mantell clearly exclaim, "My God, I see people in this thing." So there's... So, I mean, that's just one trying to catch one, and of course, losing. And he crashed, and it even shows a picture of his plane crash in Kentucky. I wish I had the picture up, but I don't. That itself, I mean, they even put a plaque of him and a sign where this happened. It's like a legit. They put it up.
So he says he saw people on the craft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
I wonder if he means people, or like
something.
In 1948 at 25,000 feet with a circular 300 feet diameter. I mean,
that's huge.
That's a big.
That's pretty fucking big, especially if that plane's trying to catch them in excess of 500 miles per hour, and they're probably just standing in that thing like they're not moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have to not like maneuvering like the guy in the airplane.
He has to be strapped in and
mask
and all that.
And they probably don't have that movement of left to right if they can just easily stand in that going that fast.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, the Stanford abduction in January 6, 1976, Stanford, Kentucky. This one's not as it's about 2 paragraphs long. It says, one of the most credible of all alien abduction stories. 3 women were driving home from dinner on US 27 in Stanford, Kentucky, when they saw what they thought was an airplane on fire falling from the sky, but the object stopped on a dime less than 100 feet above them and besides them, and the woman claimed caused the car to accelerate uncontrollably. Wow. They could now see what they described as a disc-shaped craft with revolving yellow lights that maneuvered behind them and began pulling their vehicle towards it. A blue light that filled the car, and then the next thing the passengers remember was being back on the highway driving home, but confused and noticeably hot like they had been subjected to powerful sun lamps. They had also lost about an hour and a half of time, and none of them could account for. Residents of the nearby counties independently reported the same UFO around the same time alleged encounter. In following months, skeptical investigators subjected the women to polygraphs, which they all passed. Under deep hypnosis, all 3 women recalled being taken aboard a UFO and subjected to physical examination by small silent beings with large eyes and hands like jagged wingtips. One claimed to have been placed in a glass capsule where a skin sample was taken from her chest, and one claimed her eyes were temporarily removed from their sockets and replaced. Each had symptoms like burns and eye inflammation consistent with the statements. And there's a video of it as well, of their interviews. We have to.
When they're taking eyeballs out, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean that's a new one to me. I haven't heard of.
There's some the list. Kentucky has some crazy ones. Here's a a short one that I just want to read out. This is the Louisville UFO dogfight, February 27th, 1993. So it says in 1993, well before recreational drones were a thing, two experienced Louisville police pilots took their helicopters out for a routine patrol around midnight when they encountered a glowing pear-shaped orb the size of a basketball. Wow, I'm surprised they saw it that small. According to the pilots, the orb appeared to study their helicopter, circling it abruptly, ascending at an estimated speed of 600 miles per hour. But the incident wasn't over. The orb reappeared, circling the helicopter again, and when the pilots tried to evade it, it gave chase. That's when, according to the pilots, the witness on the ground, the UFO shot 3 basketball-sized fireballs at the helicopter and then disappeared.
Wow.
So
it shot at the helicopter?
Wow. Yeah. And there's pictures of it, and it shows the officers. It shows it's all from back then, and it shows. So
it shot at the helicopter 3 times and missed. So we know their aim's not very good.
Yeah, and then they disappeared.
Their targeting system's not great.
Devil's advocate to that one. I think if they wanted to down them, they would have downed them.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah,
I think it might have been more of a deterrent than
maybe
a defense mechanism to scare them off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you're right. If they have the technology, they could take down anything probably pretty quickly.
What's up, Joe? Good to see you. Joe's a very good member of our Chasing Prophecy fan base.
What's going on, Joe?
And Joe, this is Ian and Tyler from Nerdiformer, another podcast that we have on. So be sure to check them out. Good to see you, Joe. Checking in, Pinhead. But yeah, anyway, sorry for that interruption.
No,
but that's
no. Love people stopping in and watching. But there's some crazy stories in Kentucky I never even thought. Like, I never even saw it. Like, I've never read about them, but I have a list of 20 right now. And they're just as one crazy after another.
I got stories of Kentucky, but they're not.
Yeah.
They ain't good.
They're not for this episode.
But it's pretty cool to go through this and actually, like, because I never thought to search Kentucky UFOs until like we're doing this, and like they have like real pictures back then, black and white. They show the airplane crashing, and they show like all this interviews. They have videos, YouTube.
They took the woman's eyes out. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, Nicole. I wear contacts too. I hope that's true.
Yeah.
If they remove my bad eyes, hopefully they'd put.
Well, I mean, if they can fix them, that would be cool.
If you see the people that they did
it's
it to, and
the early version,
put them back in. As long as you put them back in, they're better.
So that was in '76. There's a colored reporter, like as in on YouTube. It's not in black and white. It's colored of them doing their interviews on YouTube that you can watch, and they can recant the whole story. So they're still alive, and they did it back then. So it's actually pretty cool to see. And there's newspaper clippings as well.
So pound for pound, I guess Kentucky's kind of up there, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
I gotta say there's a lot.
That's funny.
Let's just play along here and assume the model of the United States government's working with the aliens and says you can take a certain amount of our people. It sounds like they're like, yeah, do whatever you want with Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
Well, would you sacrifice Kentucky or be like, listen, those aren't our best and brightest? Maybe you want to go. Maybe you want to go another route.
Yeah. Oh, Joe. Oh, Joe.
That's hilarious, Joe.
I was referencing your picture, but that works as well.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Oh, Joe. But yeah, they're like, you know what? If you're med students, they can have anybody from these states.
Yeah.
We want
you got any?
Yeah,
you got any aliens in training? They can go and take. These are the states you can go to.
Yeah. We want private practice doctors on these states, and we want top physicians,
right.
On these states.
That's why they took her eyes out. They didn't know what they were doing.
No. They're like, I know where the ass is.
Everybody else is getting anally probed, and these people are getting their eyeballs removed.
I know.
Dude.
Yeah.
And recalling that?
Take her temperature.
Dude.
You can't take her temperature there.
That's not where it goes. I can just see Three Stooges, but in grays, like slapping each other on the head.
That'd be a great skit. That'd be a great skit we should do. That'd be hilarious.
That would be a great skit.
Only certain people would understand.
They just have the hair. That's how you can tell.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the
They're
mustache.
still grays, but they have
Yep.
the.
They make the same noises. The woo woo woo. You know, they do all the noises.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh god, that'd be great. We gotta work on that. Yeah.
So, well, don't dare us, Nicole, because we got a lot of time on our hands. And we
Yeah.
have a lot to say.
Oh, yeah.
So, we would do it. We just don't want to, offend anyone in the movies, in the TV, and win all the awards. That's why.
Right.
That's exactly it.
Kentucky, Appalachian, man. It's. Do you think it's reported more because there's the culture is more outside? You have the ability to see more.
Well, I mean, yeah, that could be.
I don't know. I'm trying to get them back in after we crossed them out.
No, they're gone.
No,
No. Yeah. Listen, you have to commit sometimes, Tom. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna go, you gotta go. It's all about commitment, really.
Yeah.
If they're tough enough to hang in with us,
when the weight starts to go, it's going. You can't stop it.
If they're tough enough to hang with us, then they're in the right place.
That's exactly it. I like
if you're still watching from Kentucky,
because it doesn't get any.
You can now be our friend.
Like it.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
All right, quick first round. Ian, where are we going next?
We are going to hang out with the Wolverines in Michigan.
I like this.
This is a good one because a lot of people saw it.
I know what one this is. You don't even have to tell me.
It's kind of a long one, but there's a lot of different different accounts from people. I won't read all of them because I'll be here all night. But West Michigan, March 8th, 1994. A night seared into the memory of hundreds of across West Michigan. Strange lights were reported in the sky near Holland and several other locations, mostly across portions of Ottawa, Muskegon, and Allegan counties. I actually spent time in Muskegon. Not a lot there. In the days and weeks that followed, at least 300 witnesses came forward with varying accounts. The event quickly got media attention in the days that followed, in part because of recorded 911 calls to Ottawa County Dispatch acquired by an investigative reporter. Now, 30 years later, the event continues to spark interest worldwide. Netflix's popular reboot of Unsolved Mysteries covered the sighting in its third season. I don't know if I saw that one.
I watched that one.
Whatever it is remains a mystery, but those who saw it say it's something that they'll never forget. So we have one account from Lee Lambert, spots lights over Holland High School. Lee Lambert was a sports writer and editor for Holland Sentinel in 1994. The last to leave a basketball game, Lambert's witnessed what he described as a string of lights over the Holland High School. Lambert's encounter with the strange lights began as an audible humming. Quote, I equated it to if you're out by the airport and you're in the path of a plane coming in, this low hum as the plane is descending and decelerating, end quote, Lambert says. His attention is directed to the sky. Lambert looked up to see what he described as a long row of red and white lights. I saw almost like Christmas lights, and I go, that's not supposed to be up there. Lambert estimates the lights were about 100 feet up in the air, moving fairly slowly before disappearing over the gymnasium. He returned to the newsroom that night and shared what he had seen, but no one seemed to believe him. As news coverage began to ramp up in the following days, Lambert decided to reach out to Mike Walsh, an investigative reporter with the Muskegon Chronicle, who was one of the first to break the story. His accounts were eventually published in the competitors' papers. Lambert's bosses weren't too thrilled. I got called to my office. I almost got fired, Lambert said. Cindy Pravda witnessed bright lights behind her Grand Haven home, about 20 miles north. Cindy saw something she can't explain out her kitchen window. Quote, I was on the phone, corded phone, and I'm a pacer. Cindy recounted in 2019 interview, I looked out the windows and saw lights, the bright light surprised me. Sydney, one of the witnesses to be interviewed for Netflix Unsolved Mysteries, described the lights had a slightly different appearance compared to the accounts of Lambert's. The more I looked at it, I'm seeing 4 lights, and they are like the size of a full moon. Cindy said it wasn't helicopters. It was nothing else that I could explain. There's a bunch of different.
If you guys watch that Unsolved Mysteries, they have the phone calls from that, and it was. I mean, you can see they were completely terrified. Multiple people called about this.
They said meteorologists.
Go ahead.
That they showed video of it.
Not video, but they were showing like it was going over the lake too, and they were going, and it's like, I mean, with that,
they said there was like 300 reports.
Yeah,
there was a meteorologist tracks object on radar. Oh my God, what is this? On the night of March 8th, 1994, Jack Brushong was a meteorologist at the now shuttered National Weather Center field station at the Muskegon County Airport. Bushong was in charge of answering the phone, taking weather observations, and operating the weather radar. He still remembers the calm and cold conditions on the night of the sightings. When the phone rang, he thought it would be just a quick confirmation of a clear skies and good visibility at the station. The Ottawa County dispatcher on the other line asked him to check the radar to see if there is anything strange showing up over southern Ottawa County. Putting the WSR 74C weather station weather radar into manual mode, he began scanning the area of interest to the southeast. A few seconds later, he started to see strange objects lighting up his screen, and he relayed his observations to the dispatcher. He was quoted as saying, "I knew I was looking at something highly unusual," he said, "not just an airplane, either aircraft in formation or the biggest airplane I've ever seen on radar." So that's interesting. They got it actually on the radar.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen that on Unsolved Mysteries, Sam?
I don't think I've seen that one.
I don't think I've seen that one, which now I have to go back and look. But
it was very detailed on how they did it too. So that's why I knew when you said Michigan, I'm like, I know what one it's going to be because it's such it's a sighting that so many people saw, and it wasn't that long ago. And there's phone calls with it, multiple phone calls.
They call it a Holy Grail UFO event. Michigan is no stranger to UFO events, but the March 8th, 1994 event ranks towards the top when it comes to some of the most famous.
Yeah.
I would put this event toe-to-toe with some of the other big ones people talk about, said Bill, I'm not going to try that last name, president of Michigan MUFON chapter. There were over 300 witnesses that MUFON is aware of that saw various colored discs doing erratic maneuvers in the sky. MUFON stands for Mutual UFO Network, the world's largest civilian UFO research organization with over 5,000 members in 40 countries. He said in a typical year, MUFON will get just over 200 sightings from across Michigan. People report the UFO sightings to MUFON with each lead investigated. Interesting.
Very interesting.
So it was a lot of people, and it was trailed several different counties, and I want video.
I believe that one for sure.
Yeah.
I believe there's definitely something that they saw. They said they had 50 phone calls, just based on. That's the news station said they had 50 phone calls just based on the lights that people were seeing. They said it was from Battle Creek to Kalamazoo, all over Michigan, basically. Yeah, pretty wild.
Mm-hmm. That was awesome.
A lot of news channel coverage on it. That's pretty believable. I think I'm down with that.
Absolutely, it fits all of or checks all the boxes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It checks all the boxes of like the more credible end of the stories as of us doing this.
Yeah.
I personally get a lot out of 911 calls and hearing that audio. You know, when you hear people's voice and they're concerned, afraid, or just they don't know, you can hear that in their voice. And when you hear that, it just adds that extra layer to me.
Yep, I agree.
And they got it on radar, and like there's really believable people that saw it, and
Can't wait for you guys to watch this episode so you can hear the phone calls.
I thought I watched them all. I must have missed that one.
When they said the third season, does that mean the third volume?
Yeah, I think the third volume.
Okay.
Because the third one just came out recently, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of chopped up and whatnot. So,
yeah.
No, but I'm down to watch it because it's, man, I tell you, when you get a whole town, it takes a certain different
multiple towns. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, okay, let's pretend here. Imagine you were that one on the 911. You're in the 911 dispatch.
Yeah.
And you're hearing somebody call in. And then your person next to you hears someone call in. And someone else calls in. It's like, oh shit, what's going on?
I'm taking a lunch break.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it. You think about how many calls they get every night, and how many wacky calls they get every night.
Yeah. You know, and it's true about people. You know, the more you tell someone, you only do not call this. You only call this for something for an emergency. People will call up and be like, "Oh, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry." Well, how were you even close enough to dial those numbers?
Oh yeah,
Joe, I need more information about that.
Yeah, I was only 10 when the Carbondale, Pennsylvania UFO landed by my house back in 1977. I saw something under an OD green tarp being taken by a flatbed down the road.
I would like to hear more about that as myself.
Yeah.
We're gonna. Some of that sounds similar to Kecksburg, where they throw it under a tarp on the back of a tractor trailer and haul it off to Right Pat. But for the Michigan people, man, and again, it's that Midwest thing, right? They're not going to come with a fantastical story that's out of this world and get so many people to play along with it.
Yeah,
it's not. It doesn't seem to be, to me, in their, like characteristics
agenda.
And it was in '94, so it was, the lights were too old to be like, Starlink satellites or whatever that travel in
it's not going to be that.
A line of
light. And there was 4 of them, the size of the moon. They said,
they say 4 or 5 different ones.
Yeah.
But the accounts were a little bit different from account to account. But who knows what,
guessing
from
perspective
what,
on what angle
perspective
they were
wise. Yeah, who knows what you could actually see. But
that's a very good point. But 94, we're it's pretty modern. It's
for sure. For sure.
We are here. There was no military dismissal. There was no. This was us running this. It was.
You're right. Nope.
But they had the military radar.
They had the radar of.
It was the
the weather station. The
weather station radar.
The weather station radar.
And that harkens back to one of the stories that we had. It might have been last week or the week before, where they didn't have it on radar on the airport radar, but the weather radar did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which apparently is a different type. Mm-hmm. So I learned something new with that. I thought radar was radar, but that's fascinating to hear that you caught it on that. Maybe it's an altitude. An altitude thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. My thing is, once you get 300 people seeing something, you saw something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
well, not from all the same town either.
Let me ask you guys this: when it becomes solid, like, okay, what's that number of people to you?
I'd say at least 50 or above.
I mean, once you start getting in the 40 or 50,
I would probably say,
I'd say probably 30. Once you start getting in the 30, 40, 50, it's hard to get.
I would be the lowest one. I'd say like 15, 20.
It's hard to get that many people together to say, hey, let's, say this happened. You could do 5 or 10 people.
You could do 5 or 10 from, let's just say, from different counties. Then it's more believable.
That's true.
It's only 5.
Yeah. But you're also talking about across multiple. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're talking about across multiple counties also. So that
I guess it could be that low. Yeah, I totally agree with that. If you're talking same town,
you'd
have to say at least 15 or 20 that don't know each other.
Yeah.
You have a big party bonfire of 50 people at your house. Sure. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Maybe. What if you're all doing peyote? And
I almost said it, but I didn't want to.
If you're doing peyote, then it's just one.
It was at the tip of my tongue, and I almost said it. And I'm like, I won't say it.
I believe anybody that did peyote. I don't know.
Yeah.
They saw something. I don't know.
Did I tell you about the guy I knew that did ayahuasca?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe.
No?
Maybe. but
Okay,
not
so
sure.
I was, I knew this guy, former military man, very respectable, in his post-service career, all of that. He told me, he's like, I did do. I was young. I had a bunch of money. He was medically discharged, so he got like a good lump sum type of thing from what he, how he got hurt. And he said I was young and I was dumb and I was getting money from my medical stuff and I was just, doing whatever I could. He did the whole Lima, Peru, fly down to Lima and go up the river. You know what I mean? And to the shaman, and did it the old-fashioned, legit way.
Wow.
And I asked him, I said, so you did? Yeah, ayahuasca. Yep. He said, I did the whole thing. I was in the hut and I had like 7 other people around me and, Americans. And then you had the shamans and their helpers and all that kind of stuff. And he said it was nasty, it was disgusting, all that kind of stuff. But I said, well, what was it like? Just tell me, what was it like? It's probably something I'm never going to be able to do. You know what I mean? So what was it like? And he said, it was okay. Not the answer I wanted to hear. He said, but when I was done, I was very, very sad. I said, why? He said, because in the moment, you don't realize how great it is until you start to come off of it.
I've heard that, yeah.
When he came off of it, he was very sad that it's a world that he'll never get to in this realm until
a lot of people say that. Yeah, people say that.
So I was like, oh man, he's like, yeah, I was actually sad. I had to be brought back, like, you know what I mean, into my current, not current body, but like back to his self. You know what I mean? Because he said, yeah, I was legitimately sad and like, I guess depressed or whatever, because man, that was so wonderful.
That experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And
how do we get sponsors to go to Lima, Peru so we can do ayahuasca?
Air Peru gets sponsors.
You have to you have to go up the river. You have to travel a long way to do that.
Somebody's got to sponsor that, right?
He did it the way you see on you CNN with, when that guy was still alive, Anthony Bourdain. Like you saw, he
Don't
did
they
it the legitimate
aggressively
way.
do it when they give it to you too? Like they blow it up your nose or they do something weird. Have you seen those videos where it's like aggressive? Yeah. Have you seen them or no?
I haven't seen that.
They'll like forcibly put it up your nose and like not in a good way.
Maybe they're tired of you being chicken. No, I don't want to do it anymore.
But it's like
they've been fighting you for 30 minutes. Yeah. Listen, you're taking it.
But that's how they do it. Like unless they're just mocking us. But I don't think so.
No, some people come in and out at different times and whatever. But he said, they're around you. They're dabbing you with like paper towels. You know what I mean? And not paper towels, towels and moving your like joint, like they're like moving your arm around, moving this arm around,
and just making it on that adventure up there. You could possibly get eaten by something because of where you're at.
You're not in a good
Amazon.
Yeah, you're not in.
They say some people die going up there. I've read about that.
Sure,
it could be venomous animals. It could be a jaguar. It could be anything.
Just in the Amazon. I would have to think every single thing in there, no matter the size, is venomous or could kill me.
It's trying to kill you. Everything there is trying to kill you in one way, shape, or form, for sure.
Yeah. Man.
I'm just waiting for this week's episode with Tom, Ian, and Tyler. We're going up river.
Yeah.
We've made it to Lima.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm just waiting for that day.
Tom had his passport stolen, so we're waiting.
The next show is it's me and Tom, and like, what happened to Tyler? Well, I mean,
he's dead.
There was never a Tyler. No,
I don't know. We don't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
exactly.
He just quit the show all of a sudden.
I'm just saying. I think if we're gonna do the safe route, we're gonna have to go out to like Nevada, or we're gonna have to go somewhere else. No, not Peru.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go to Peru now.
If I tie me to something, don't let me just wander off. Tie me until I can answer my safe questions, and then untie me.
We need an adult there for sure, because we can't be trusted.
I kind of want to film it too. I want to see all my attractions of near death.
Oh, we're filming every second of that.
Oh yeah,
we don't do anything without being filmed from now on.
Tyler, Nicole said you got beamed up.
Got beamed up. Yeah. You just disappeared.
I don't know what happened to him.
Really, all I'm doing is I'm just really high and I'm just camouflaging myself into everything. Yes, I'm just walking right past me. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's from.
We were going to the jungle. I thought I should wear camo.
It reminds me of the scene from Arrested Development. He's always blending in. I don't know if you've seen that show, but
Oh yeah. My God.
I don't know how we get in these places, but
I don't
we
even
find a way.
we always circle
You know
our
what?
way
But it's
back around to ayahuasca.
This is why we can't be. This is why we can't be guests on other people's shows because it's just the train derails so fast.
It's the best part.
I mean, I think so.
We're gonna cut clips of this and be like, all right, we couldn't use an hour and 35 of your show.
That's exactly it.
We got 9 minutes of usable footage. What are we doing with it?
And it's the beginning.
And
Hi, I'm Tom, and the Oracle Talk Radio.
it was your read. After that, that was it. That was the whole show. You guys did that for 2 hours? Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Subscribe to our Patreon for more of this.
That'd be our Patreon episodes.
This should all probably be on Patreon if you want to know the truth. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
I like it. So where are we going to next, Tom?
We are going to go to Connecticut.
Connecticut.
CT Strong.
Right.
CTE.
CTE.
Did I put it under con or did I put it under Connecticut?
CT.
Oh, why has it got to do this to me? There it is. So I have a relatively new one, and it's definitely my shortest of all of mine. So this is from Litchfield, Connecticut, and a person on the road called the police because he saw a glowing whale-sized object fall from the sky.
Whale size. All right.
Anything
like
but
that.
the metric system.
Yep.
Anything.
It's
we
a
measure
bird.
Walmart, whales, barns.
Yeah, Walmart, barns, football fields, whales, everything. How many meters? Oh no. A state trooper.
How many meters is a whale?
Yeah, like 100.
Yeah,
Big whale?
exactly.
Just guess 100 on everything. You'll probably be right.
Whatever it is, it's 100.
Small whale.
Yeah. A state trooper and a motorist reported a large object falling out of the sky in Litchfield, Connecticut. A green, glowing, whale-sized object that plunged into Litchfield Lake. State authorities said no-go, and they failed to locate anything at all. The Republican American newspaper of Waterbury reports that a person driving in Litchfield at about 2 a.m. on a Tuesday reported that an object the size of a whale fell from the sky and crashed into Bantam Lake. Officials say that about that same time, a state trooper 10 miles away in Warren called dispatchers to report something fell out of the sky and landed near Bantam or Morris. Morris fighters made passes up and down the lake in a boat for a possible plane crash, but didn't find any debris. Authorities called off the search, leaving the mysteries unsolved. The individual who called the police said he was driving. He saw it was a bright green object falling the size of a whale into the lake. However, in subsequent searches, the divers did not find anything mysterious. And so the story was called off. The National Weather Service, to be fair, said there was a meteor shower expected that morning. But in meteor showers, they're not the size of a whale.
No.
And he reported, the caller reported seeing the splash as he was driving alongside of that lake. So yeah, that short story in Connecticut really seems to be bizarre. It does sound like a meteorite when you have green, the gas, when it hits oxygen, it could be green,
I'm also
that
thinking
metal.
And that might explain.
Satellite. It could have been something falling out of the sky.
Well, you think they would have found that in the lake? A meteorite, they might have just looked like a rock in the lake, and they wouldn't have found anything of it. Maybe.
No,
had they found it.
I mean, really,
But
even on land,
whale?
if you don't have like a, he said the size of a whale.
I mean, you'd find
Again,
an oblong
in the
whale
sky.
rock.
It could be the size of a whale with the glow, though, and the object.
Exactly.
Is not
Yeah.
anywhere near
Right.
that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's very true.
But if it was a rock, I mean, maybe it would blend.
I
in
do
with
like
it.
that they took part and they got divers to actually go investigate and just instead of calling it off, like, nah, you're crazy. They actually,
That was what was interesting to me. And the fact that a state police trooper also corroborated the story from a different space, you know what I mean, 10 miles away, seeing it fall. And he, now he could have thought it went into the lake. He said he reported a splash.
Right.
Could two things have happened? If something falls, a lake is very dark. So it could have fallen on the other side and he heard a splash roughly around the same time. That could have been something there too. But I wanted to give this story a shout out this way because Connecticut really doesn't have that many. They are by far one of the least. And one of the stories would have went around with a story that we had earlier with the Westchester boomerang, because that actually went into Connecticut. So in lieu of giving people the same story from two states' perspective, I wanted to go with a green whale.
I like it.
I like the green whale. I'm all about that. I hope it's true just because there's a green whale involved. But
yeah,
I gotta say it kind of, as not fun as it is to say, it kind of sounds like a meteorite issue to me.
I do too.
Yeah,
we're here. We're debunkers. We're trying. We come with that mind first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then believe everything. So if the National Weather Service says there's a meteor, something could have came down.
Right.
That the glow made it way bigger than what it should have been.
For sure.
Not to mention you're driving and you're looking out the window at something in the night sky, 2 a.m. I think there's a lot of different things going on here where, Ian, you're right. Once they went into that lake, if you don't have like a Geiger counter, or you don't have, specific material, you're not going to know a foreign elemental rock than a regular rock. It's just going to look like a rock.
And if it's big enough, it may just look like part of the side of the lake. Maybe it just
Also, if it hit the lake, it would have. The impact it would have hit, it probably would have went into so many pieces. You know what I mean? It's
maybe
that big. It would have cracked.
It could have broken up.
It's a heavy. You got terminal velocity. It's definitely reaching that, falling from fucking outer space. So it's definitely going to be, hitting a lake. Let me see the. Okay, they don't have the time of the year,
and we don't really know how big the lake is. If it's a really big lake or at least a good sized lake, it would be. I think it'd be difficult to pick out a rock from all the other rocks.
You're exactly right, but you know what? They did their due diligence, like Tyler said. Hey, this might have been an aircraft with somebody.
No, I like it. Yeah,
somebody might have got drunk, took their own plane out. Didn't because you have to usually tell people when you do that. He could have just went out, got drunk, did that, and he crashed into the lake. But they sent divers out there. They sent people. They stayed until sunlight. They saw the next day. Didn't find anything out of the ordinary. But I do appreciate the response. Hey, if somebody's in help, we're not just taking somebody at 2 a.m. Look, what kind of calls are you going to get at 2 a.m.? Probably somebody who came from a bar if they're not working overnight. And that's not to say whatever this guy is, but I'm sure they have to deal with a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
When we're doing peyote, we can't call 911. Everybody agree?
No phones. Lock them. Put them in a one of those fire safes. That
we can have cameras, but no phones.
That's the one time when we're going to actually need it, when someone's dying on the ground.
We're going to need it if we locked up.
Where's the key? He swallowed the key. It's one of those. It's one of those situations.
All right, so we'll need cameras, we'll need Epicec, and we'll need the lock.
That's exactly it.
It's going to be our version of if you give a mouse a cookie. We're just going to start thinking of like.
All right, who swallowed the key?
Yeah. I swallowed. Wait, that was for all of us? I thought it was just me. And then
exactly.
You just transcend into light. You just transcend into pure light. That's really where Tyler went. He just transformed into a light being.
Getting the light and went away.
I am the light. I like that.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Tyler.
Where are we going for our last one?
Number 49.
We're going to Charleston, South Carolina.
I hit it.
Right.
There.
Says mad. Just messed up that intro. I'm just joking. Yeah. It says 3 residents in various areas across Low County reported UFO sightings to the National UFO Reporting Center last fall. It says, and this, it was posted January 16th, 23. So it's pretty current, it looks like. The first was reported off of Adisto Island in October. The witness described seeing a light that appeared above Botany Bay during the day on October 15th. Taking pictures of Botany Bay on South Carolina's coast, we noticed the light which appeared in some photos, but not all of them in the same scene. The witness reported light appeared to be moving in the pictures and then disappears. 2 photographers provided which appeared to show a teal in color speck of light high above the beach. Another sighting was reported in Somerville just a week before the Thanksgiving holiday. While sitting out by the fire just after 8 p.m., I looked up to see 2 glowing orange lights flying over the house. There were 3 of us who saw them, and we all agreed that they were distinctly orange in color. The witness described in the report says, according to the witness, the lights appeared to be flying low but quickly. The first ones didn't seem to blink or flicker. They were no aerial navigation lights, either red or green or white. They did not bob or weave. There was no noise associated with them, the witness wrote. The witness said there were airplanes flying in other directions with sound associated with flyovers, but these were different. The first 2 flew parallel to one another and then seemed to curve slightly towards the south. They were coming from the west and flying towards the east. Then, when we looked up and coming over the crest of the house, were 3 more of these flying lights, the witnesses reported. The witnesses continued to say they were flying roughly in a triangle, and again they were glowing orange and with a steady light, and they disappeared behind the pine trees burrows. Another one came over the house. A third sighting took place over Holly Hill just days later. It was described with a diamond-shaped figure that hovered above one area and made no sudden upward jerks at times. Made sudden upward jerks at times. I was leaving the home to go to my mother-in-law's house around 9 p.m. on November 19th. It was dark, of course. Sky appeared to be clear with only stars visible. When I got to the end of the road at the stop sign, I noticed a diamond-shaped object with flashing lights just hovering. It had lights of red, blue, and green. It said it would be flashing at different times, the witness wrote. The witness told NUFORC that the object did not appear to be a plane because it didn't change position. It only seemed to be moving closer or further away. This diamond-shaped object was just hovering and watching it, and I was watching it for approximately 10 minutes. It had me kind of shaken up, so I left to proceed to my mother-in-law's. I tried to catch video and images, but nothing compares to the naked eye. That's pretty crazy. And there's 3 different incidences on that one.
I would so love to be a first-hand experience or imagine the impact on how you view the world around you. Very good point, Joe. I don't know if I would, to be honest, I don't know if I would want to be that person. But yeah, I agree. Your view on the world would absolutely change if that happened to you. I totally agree with that.
Completely.
Yeah. And Tyler, with yours, the multiple stories are so credible. And then, I appreciated the facts that were in there that were provided. You know what I mean? People not only said, I saw it and it did this. They had like speed, they had what it was doing, they had the formations it was in. That to me also lends some credibility to these stories as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just 3 different towns. So I mean, I would believe this one completely.
Yeah, details help.
Yeah,
for sure.
Details definitely matter. And in South Carolina, another bigger military state. I would assume the people in that area would know certain craft that come around more than.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're just more educated on that than most, I would say, especially if they're seeing it all the time.
Well, they see it all the time. So
yeah.
Absolutely. So that one is that one's up there. I love the details, the facts about it. It just certainly makes a case more believable, and also like I like the ones that where you can kind of close your eyes and see what they're seeing too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
How you do it. But yeah, Joe, this is our. I'm glad you were here too. This is our fifth one of UFOs over the 50 states, 50 UFO stories. And but by all means, check out our pages, and you'll be able to find previous episodes, no problem. All right, guys.
that
Is
was
that
so much
49?
fun doing that. That was 50,
There you
right?
go.
That was unless someone has another
No.
one, but that was right.
We have Kecksburg. We have
Yeah,
Peter.
we
Oh,
have
that's right.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so that's 49. 49 amazing stories. We've had UFOs shot at. We've had aliens shot to death, apparently.
Helicopter shot at. Yeah.
Helicopters shot at. Multiple downed or multiple seized up engines from dogfights and chases.
Oh,
One
yeah.
actually went to the ground. Tyler, your story, the guy crashed.
Yep. There's pictures of it.
Yeah. So there's
Flying
a lot
Walmart.
Of great,
A lot of blue, a lot of blue lights in the 40s,
Blue
to
lights in
60s.
Walmart. Yeah.
A lot of blue lights in the 40s and 60s, right around there.
amazing, amazing newspaper names from around the country.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Families at rodeos, families at concerts, families
Yeah.
on
We had a lot of
farms.
concerts. Sure.
And, not one story, though, was really in a big populous area.
Yeah.
Entire college towns. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Nicole, a couple episodes ago.
Not
Yes,
Walmart.
there was a flying Walmart.
You missed a Walmart one? Oh, you
Size of
can't
a
miss the
Walmart
Walmart.
right there.
Yeah.
That's a great
That's
one.
one of our top, if you guys
I think he made clips of
head
that
over
one.
to our
So good.
TikTok, that's one of our
That one's
top clips.
amazing.
That's one of our top clips. I mean, how can you not get clicks when you talk about a flying
Jesus
Walmart?
Christ,
Flying
it's the
Walmart.
size of a super center.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What if that was it? Well, what kind of Walmart? The super center? With
Yeah,
the grocery
exactly.
store, or the
Was it like
regular
a
one?
was it like a Division One, like the old school Walmart? Or are we talking
Yeah,
super
exactly
center?
it.
Yeah.
Grocery
Are we
store?
Blue and red.
Parking lot.
God. That still might be my favorite measurement tool was
Yeah,
Walmart.
it was great.
I know. In the great
was
state of
great.
Texas, wasn't it?
That one was in Texas, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger in
Well,
Texas, bro.
That's
exactly
true.
it.
Why don't we wind down with Pennsylvania and Kecksburg, everyone?
All right.
I like it.
So Kecksburg obviously is in my heart, being Pennsylvania, even though it's the wrong side of Pennsylvania. So I just wrote Pennsylvania for me too.
There you go.
It's the opposite side, but many people still remember this to this day because it's still in that orally passed down parents to kids.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's within that time frame.
And it stretched across 6 states and
6
Canada.
states and Canada.
So it was a big deal.
Kecksburg was really more of just the victim of the crash site.
Yeah.
This thing was over multiple radars, 2 different nations.
Yeah, the story
and
expands
a host of
all over
everything.
the place.
So, on the evening of December 9th, 1965, it left an indelible, unusual imprint on the memories of many residents in southwestern Pennsylvania. A little before 5 p.m., a raging fireball was reportedly seen falling from the sky before finally crashing in the woods near a small town of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, about a 45-minute drive from Pittsburgh. Eyewitnesses said they felt the vibrations and a loud thump around the time of the crash, and the fireball was seen by people across 6 states and even as far away as Canada. But what was exactly this unusual unknown flying object that crashed in Kecksburg? When the locals visited the crash site, they discovered an unusual bell-shaped craft without wings and without any recognizable propulsion. The bronze-colored structure resembled an acorn. It was estimated to be around 15 feet long or about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. Oh, there's another one.
Yep.
Adding to the bizarre occurrence, the Kecksburg UFO featured a design reminiscent of Egyptian-like hieroglyphs engraved on the outside of the craft. Within hours, military personnel arrived at the UFO crash site to confiscate the wreckage. Local newspapers reported that the area around the crash was immediately sealed off by order of the U.S. Army and Pennsylvania State Police. In fact, according to a story in the Tribune Review, police officials ordered the area roped off to await the expected arrival of the U.S. Army engineers and possibly even civilian scientists. It did not take long for military officials to load the bell-shaped craft onto their trucks, cover everything with tarps, and haul away the last remnants of the crash. There were concerns at the time that whatever it was came crashing to Earth could be radioactive, but ultimately, the only aspect of the story that was confirmed was how baffling it was for the residents of the area. They did not know what it was or what it was made from, and where it came from, and all that they shared, and the confusion that brought with it. In the days after the crash, many eyewitnesses said that they were forcibly turned away by military personnel, and some even have claimed to be visited, in fact, by the Men in Black style officials who reminded them to avoid discussing what they saw that night. These stories quickly fed into the additional rumors and conflicting theories that began to emerge, all contributing to the growing legend of the Kecksburg incident. Reports eventually began to trickle in, with some saying the fireball could have been a high-altitude test rocket or perhaps a Soviet satellite debris falling from orbit. The Pentagon indicated Kecksburg UFO could be a meteor, and of course, there are those who believe that the craft was extraterrestrial of origin. Interesting, the TV show Ancient Aliens posed a different theory. During a segment where they discussed the crash, the host theorized that it could have been a top-secret Nazi craft known as the Bell or Die Glocke, which ancient astronaut theorists suggested could have been a time machine. The project was conducted in a secret location in Poland during World War II, and the show used the blueprints to compare the similarities in the design, what was to be described as the Pennsylvania UFO crash. It was a fascinating comparison, and the objects did look strikingly similar, but without physical proof of either the Kecksburg UFO or the supposed Nazi Bell, it was impossible to say if there was an actual connection. So I have a video here of a friend of the show, a friend of the network. I talked to Stan Gordon on Chasing Prophecy during the Kecksburg festival. They have a festival every year for the town.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to date Stan Kecksburg and go back to season 3 of the original. So, very good friend of the network, giving him all of his props. Hearing Robert Stack's voice brings me back. You know,
I was going to say that was an old school one. I like it.
Old school one.
Oh, yeah.
But that was Stan Gordon and his data, who's dedicated his life to everything. And I don't want to just peg him as a UFO guy. He's, you know, Appalachian cryptids in Western Pennsylvania, all that kind of stuff. He loves all of it. But he's convinced. He's talked to people. He's talked to people back then. And unfortunately, being that long ago, you know, you do have, you know, life taking its toll and people pass away. But he wants to keep the memory of that going on. I thought it was fascinating that, you know, you're going to get it was the Soviet space. That's the biggest theory counteracting the UFO is it was the Soviet satellite that crashed.
Well, the one thing I found interesting about this story was people were finding metal pieces throughout the area from the crash sites. So they know it was metal. And I think that's initially why they had to get away from the meteor story, because people were finding, you know, metal from this thing.
Yeah.
So they started they say it could have been from the Soviet space probe Cosmo 96.
Yes.
Which was, I guess, something that was, I don't know if it was a secret probe or not, but supposedly it had come down somewhere. And that's kind of what they were going for.
Yeah.
So, in that longer clip, and sorry, Nicole, I don't see it. I don't think he looks like me.
I thought he looked like Bob Lazar.
A little bit, yeah, you're right. I think a little bit more like Bob Lazar than
with the glasses and the
yeah. But if he looks, you know, he's a very well-respected and intelligent man, so I would, I'll take that comparison any day.
I'll take the well-respected part,
but I'm not. But what was it good? Oh, so if you were to follow that episode, which it's on YouTube, feel free. Anybody can look that episode up, watch it for free. They talk about that Russian satellite because it did come down and it was around that day. However, it was reported to have crashed at 3 a.m. in Canada. This is over 12 hours later in Pennsylvania. So it makes sense to blame it on that. And many newer ufologists are saying, no, that's what it is. It wasn't this. You know what I mean? It was, and Stan still dies on that hill that, okay, if it's the Russian satellite, you will get the roped off by Pennsylvania State Police first because the U.S. Army is coming.
Yep,
You will get the truck, you will get the tarp treatment, you will get all of that.
Yeah.
Russian is not a petroglyph or hieroglyph language.
Right.
I was
Army engineers are going to know what's
immediately.
Russian, what's not. People aren't stupid. You know other languages, alphabets. You know, you don't know it, but you know what it looks like.
Yeah, you know what it's not.
Hieroglyphs are drawings. Know it's not.
Exactly it.
For sure.
So those are his points that I can understand why some people might think that. But furthermore to that, there was a whistleblower in Wright Pat who claims, there's a claim, that he was there the night that truck came in. There's also a claim in an interview of a truck driver in and around the Pitt, Ohio border that saw this truck take it, and the tarp was all disheveled, and it was a saucer shape, which you can kind of see acorn, saucer. It's going, depending on which way you look at it, on the angle, it's going to look similar. Yeah. The Wright Pat whistleblower said he saw it come in. He saw it untarped. It was a UFO spaceship. People openly talk, because you can, when you're on the base, openly talked about the UFO, and they took it down to like level 4 or 5, whatever. And he said all of UFO crash retrieval goes to that level. So there are some, word of mouth stories that confirm it. But in terms of proof, you got the Geiger meter going off. You got people seeing this. And you got the Men in Black, which they don't come around for satellites. So
no.
So they go on to talk about the statement. I'll just read this real quick. Said in December 2005, just before the 40th anniversary of Kecksburg incident, NASA released a statement reporting that experts had examined metallic fragments from the area and determined they were from a Soviet satellite that re-entered the atmosphere and broke up, but records of their findings were lost in the 80s. Investigative reporter backed by the Sci-Fi Channel named Leslie Keene reportedly sued NASA under the Freedom of Information Act for the lost NASA records. On October 26, 2007, NASA agreed to search for those records after being ordered by a court, which,
yeah,
they're not going to find those. And what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? You're going to do nothing about it and like it. What are you going to do, really?
Yeah, no, seriously. Say it's at Ian's house, and I'm NASA. Be like, all right, I'll look in Tyler's house from top to bottom.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly it.
Sure.
And how are you going to prove it? What are you going to do? Tell me I'm lying?
Exactly.
But yeah, the fact that they lost all the information or some of the information, I mean,
probably most of it.
I don't know. I think if I'm NASA, I have a pretty close grip on everything that
comes
in like that.
NASA wants to get back on the UFO game now. They wrote that open letter. I think it was Time Magazine, might have been somebody else, but they wrote that letter of, we would like funding to help with this because we believe we have the equipment to aid the U.S. government in UFO search. And really, it's about money. They want more funding.
Sure.
But do you remember growing up, NASA was always the ones to say, nope, that's not it. Nope, that. Yes, and now 100%. I think it's ironic that now they want to be the ones to help.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, it's about money. They're not going to help any more than they are now. They're just going to take the money and do something else with it.
They're going to put it somewhere else.
Sure. I mean, they may look around the sky for a minute. Oh yeah, I didn't see anything. Sorry, but to what length are they going to go? I'm going to guess not very far. Yeah. And we're going to give them a couple $1 billion to do it, probably, and
that's if you believe in the interdimensional theory where UFOs and aliens are just same here on Earth, the same plane, just different dimension.
Yeah.
They're going to look in the sky no matter what, and they're
Sure.
never going to find anything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You know what I mean? I mean, not in the sky, but they're going to look in outer space because they know nothing's out there.
Yeah.
You can search the oceans, you can search space. You're never gonna find them. You know, unless you accidentally stumble across one, and I bet that's going to disappear too. You know, like
yeah. You know, like I'm going to make a crude comparison, but like, give me $1 million and I will search for giraffes in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you know you're not going to find it. You're not going to find anything at all. But
of course,
you're going to take the money, right?
Of course. You tried.
But you know, you got to look at also. You bring up kind of a good point about the interdimensional stuff. Like when you examine some of this stuff, you have to anything with UFOs, you have to kind of take into account what your stance is. Are you an interdimensional person? Are they come from outer space? You know, they come from the ocean. Because you know, if you think they're coming from the ocean and you're not looking up, you know what I mean? Like you're searching the oceans, and so I think you got to kind of take that into account too if you're really going to start looking and doing this research. Not like NASA's not searching the ocean. You know what I mean? Like that.
No. I mean, who would?
And if they're interdimensional, how do you even?
We can't find a plane. We can't find a plane in the Indian Ocean from 2013.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
What chance do you think we have? And this is 2013, guys. Right. This, you know, all of your internet, all your smartphones, that was all around. Yep. Like, what are you gonna do?
And the recorder, or the reporter, the investigative reporter that requested the Freedom of Information Act, like that's the kind of stuff that conspiracy theories are made of. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, we lost them. How do you lose that? Come on, you're not gonna. You're not helping.
Yeah.
And maybe that's by design. Maybe they want people like us doing this. You know what I mean? Like maybe they want that. That just takes kind of. We think we talked about it before. It kind of takes the sting off of them. Like we'll let everybody else talk about it, and you know we don't have to say nothing. Just we lost the paperwork. Sorry.
Which could
unless
be true.
They're just saying it to they lost it to their credentials that they can't go past a certain point, so they lost it at theirs. But you know the higher ups can see that, so you never know.
Like if Tyler, Tyler's the director. He hands it to me and says, "Hide this."
Yeah,
he doesn't know where I put it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for all intents and purposes, everything's
where
under
it's supposed
him.
to be. Yeah.
Yeah. For all intents and purposes, everybody's under him. If he doesn't know, nobody knows.
That's exactly it.
It's just the way that it's
and
done.
you're not really lying because you don't know where they went.
That's exactly it.
No,
plausible deniability.
If he hit it, he knows. But it's that plausible deniability by giving it off to somebody else. And maybe that guy was whacked. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, or you don't know what happened with, however that guy was. But now nobody knows.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
We'll look for it. I mean, that's hilarious that you have to go through court. You have to pay lawyers. You have to waste court's time when they could have been doing something else.
Yeah.
And what comes of the end of it? Okay. You have to look for it.
Yeah. I mean, what? Like, yeah, Your Honor, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? Like, make me. Like, you know what I mean?
How do I look for it that would suffice the court? You know what I mean? How would the court want me to look for it?
Yeah.
I need to spend 30 hours looking for it in a month. Like, how do you measure that? How can you even prove that?
What do you decide is considered looked for? You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, even official, what do they have to get? Independent finders, independent lookers come in and search offices?
An auditor or something, that type of situation. But yeah, you're right. I mean, how do you, what do you, and what do you?
Business card.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want that job, actually.
I know.
Right? If that job's open,
I'm not saying I wouldn't sign up for it.
If that job's open, somebody send me an email. It's cool. I can keep my mouth shut. I can not find things also, but
I get a text at night. You wouldn't believe what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
that's all I would get.
Rushed pictures of him just trying to snap real quick.
Yep, that's exactly it.
I can not find things just as well as anybody else. Yeah. I'm probably the best in the world at not finding things.
Not finding people
for sure. I've got to be up there with the top of the best in the world of not finding shit.
But Ian, you made a good point that when you said it almost, pretty soon with the amount of disclosure and the amount of people talking about this, and let's be honest, the success of podcasts talking about it and getting it out to even more people, it's going to come down to the point where you're going to have to ask people like, oh, do you subscribe to this model, extraplanetary, that they're from different planets? Or do you think it's a dimensional thing where they can come in and out because we're at a lower dimensional space?
Right.
Because from there, like attracts like, you know what I mean? You're going to have people that fall into those categories, no matter where it is. And that's not to say that can't be both.
Sure.
I for one, am not how time and space works. So you can't, it might be both things, but I think it's going to get to that point where that question might have to be asked to people.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, like, a lot of people probably don't understand or wouldn't be able to follow the interdimensional type argument because they don't really understand how it would work. And I mean, I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I just, you know what I mean? Like, I just have a basic understanding probably, but some people have way less understanding than I do. And they'll be like, I don't know, they got to come from space. That's just the only thing that makes sense. So
yeah,
I don't know how
I agree with you. I hope it doesn't get to that point where certain people look down on the other kind because they don't understand how a model works. I pray it doesn't get to that point because just the fact of everyone talking about it means you're moving forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Sure.
if somebody believes that they come from this way and you're stupid because you believe it comes from this way. It can't get to that point. We can't have any of that kind of fighting because it would take the whole community down. It'll take everybody.
And I think that the government could make a concerted effort to actually do that. You know what I mean? Just like they do everything else. They could be the
gasoline. They could be the whatever,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just like they do with race relations and everything else in the media. Like all they got to do is just fan the flames, and But most people in this world aren't racist, homophobes. But if you listen to the media, you are. You know what I mean? So it's like the same thing with UFOs. Like,
I see it on a daily basis out at the ballot boxes.
Sure.
They're not going to tell you about the 99% of people who came in, dropped it off, thanked me for volunteering my time, offered to get me a call. They won't tell you that. They won't tell you that. I've seen it. I know what it's like. You know what I mean? But who am I? You know what I mean? It's not going to be reported on at the news. And you know what? If they came out to mine and I said that, they wouldn't use that on air.
No, they wouldn't use it. There's no interest there.
Yeah.
You're boring. Let me go find somebody else.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want somebody screaming and causing a scene.
Taking
That's what I'm looking for.
That's exactly what we want.
Peeling the envelope up that way.
You're looking at back, and Tom's just got shovels of ballots that he's throwing into a box.
Yeah.
It's 3 a.m. and he's dumping. But
you're right.
They're all like
shown
Xerox. They're all Xerox copies. They're not even like real ballots.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. But if I was out there being like, "You're not getting into mine until I see ID. I need ID from everybody," then they'll come out. Oh, hold on.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you'd be in jail probably. They find a way. Yeah, they find a way to lock you up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then again, the corrupt jail system, they let me out if I paid some money, though, as it always is.
Yep.
You can buy your way out of a lot of things.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. We're a whole bunch of craziness, and we're the crazy ones for talking about UFOs.
Oh, sure. That's fine.
I agree.
I got no problem being crazy.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the ayahuasca hour after.
Yes. Can't wait for that Patreon episode.
I know.
If they don't subscribe for that, I don't know what to tell them. Like, you're just missing
it.
You're missing a boat if you don't subscribe for that one.
No episode this week. We can't blow up the damn canoe.
A terrible canoe accident happened going down the river, and we can't find any of these idiots.
Tell me there's no tire inflator in this whole damn.
Exactly.
Islands on the corner of the river blowing up his floaty. Get us up there.
I'd be prepared.
Dirt roads and posts, dirt road. Son of a. Get the blowing. We'll take turns, one blow each.
Oh my God.
We're all blind mice with the jugs.
We end up riding donkey back up to the campsite because we can't get up the river.
Couldn't get 3, so 2 of us are sitting front to back.
Oh my god.
Facing off the ass of the ass.
Oh man, that visual is amazing. Oh god, that would be hilarious.
Nothing behind us, guys. I would
so
chime
chaotic.
in. I really would. I would chime in the whole time.
I'm watching out behind us, guys. It's fine.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
Just reminds me of like the movie Tropic Thunder. Be the chaotic
God.
stuff happening through the jungle. Good see.
That would be great.
You know, you're right. As much as we want it to be Platoon, it's going to be Tropic Thunder.
Oh
yeah,
for sure.
completely.
It's totally going to be a spoof of a.
Tom is just tied up behind a tree. Let me off this fucking tree.
Yeah.
Totally see it.
Oh, my
man.
God.
How do we? Somebody's got to sponsor this. Come on.
Tom's gone crazy.
All right, time to dig the latrine.
Oh god!
Wow, 50
I could just picture you two on the back of a donkey.
Yeah. What would be even funnier is if you were behind me.
Oh,
so I'm looking right at you the entire time.
Yeah. We're just making eye contact the whole ride up.
Yeah.
It's a 12-mile hike, and I got to stare at you the entire time. Nobody says a word.
Denny's?
We just stare.
Probably Denny's around here.
The worst part's going to be coming back down from the campsite on donkey back. Staring at each other.
If he bucks up, I'm face first into a hoof. I can tell
absolutely.
you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It does not feel good.
My donkey's not going to stop. He's going to run you over. My bad.
He don't speak English.
We got the Spanish-speaking donkeys.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, come on.
Vámonos.
Anybody speak Spanish? Because these donkeys are having trouble.
Land in the airport looking for a Cinnabon. We ain't going to be there.
Not there.
Not there. I'll tell you that.
Man.
Oh, man. Guys, 50 states. We did it. We did it.
It was a great time.
We are 50 stories stronger. We are 48 states less.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
We got a couple states left, I think.
Yeah,
Kentucky's probably gone. We probably wrote that off.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Connecticut was fine. We didn't have any problem with Connecticut or New Hampshire. We're good with them.
No.
Yeah.
1%. That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We might still be good with Texas. I mean,
Yeah.
they had a flying Walmart, so they can't say anything.
No.
Very credible.
Very credible flying Walmart, actually.
North Dakota dude who chased after one. So that's
good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, maybe it's like 42 we're crossed off of, not like
we're still good.
We're still good.
We got some people.
But gentlemen, this has been an absolute pleasure. It's been so much fun. I thank you again for doing this with me.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
We crushed it. Thank you to all of you listening. Please check out our Oracle Talk Radio Network app. Please check out our Patreon or member on Spreaker. Please check out podcasts and download our app. Download the Oracle Talk Radio Network app and listen to us around the clock. All different shows, all different types. There's something for everybody on there. Nerd Informer, you guys are 7 o'clock on Wednesdays typically. I'm 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
And it'll be back to regularly scheduled program, but fear not, we will have multiple collaborations to come in the future, sooner than you might think, maybe even for this holiday season. So everyone, it's been a pleasure. I love doing this. I would love to do it again next year. And we're always looking for ideas. Send us an email, oracletalkradionetwork@gmail.com, and send us an email of things you would like to see. We'll run it by the boys. We'll talk about it. We'll do it.
Next year we go around the world.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Around the world.
I got some good ones in Australia.
I'm not finding all of those.
Yeah.
I'm not finding all the countries on that damn map.
No.
That'll be a whole episode. We'll have to pre-record all that because there's no way.
Continent.
Yeah. All you would hear is my mouse, the rolling.
Oh,
Sound.
Anybody know where Zimbabwe is?
Yeah. Oh, that's above Canada.
Yeah. It was
Oh,
ZB. ZB.
That would be
Yeah,
terrible.
CP. Yeah. Oh my God, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for
Appreciate
tuning
it.
in. Thank
Absolutely.
you both
Good
for
times.
doing it.
You got it.
And until next time, everybody, stay weird.
Oh,
Bye,
yeah.
guys.
See you
Later,
guys.
guys.